here we are again. It's still April 7th, 2021, and we are now starting the regular board meeting. If everyone would mind their mics, please. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I again want to welcome our new member, and I'm going to call the roll so we know who's here. Roger, I know you're here. Peter Fanning, I see you. Alan Friedman, Patrick Gannon, Clark Lauren, David Lowe. John Moran is not on the board anymore. I don't see him. Bob Barolo, Kathy, Ken Sheelan, and Jamie. Everyone is here. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. At this point, we did, John Moran resigned in the past month, and anyone who's followed Dsca knows that John was part of the heart and soul of the organization for so many years. I think the Zoom must have worn him out. So,
I think that's Mike Geisler's.
Don't let the kids get in and do it.
Mike Geisler, can you hear me?
I thought I was on mute.
You are not.
Oh, you're not.
Thank you. I'll start again. As we all know, John has been involved with Dsca from the beginning. I think you might have even been one of the founding members. Roger and Peter can tell us that. We didn't want to let his decision not to take part in the organization anymore pass without a motion thanking him for his service. And I wonder if anyone would be willing to make that motion. Roger?
Well, I'd love to make that motion. I joined with John in 2005, and the name changed at that point. Ken was involved previously, though. I have to recognize that. But I'd like to make a motion that we express our gratitude and appreciation to John Moran for his years of service to our Downtown Sarasota Condominium Association.
I would like to second that. This is Peter Fanning.
Thank you, Peter.
And I'd just like to make a comment that I moved here in 2006 and I didn't know very many people. In fact, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know I didn't need to know anybody actually until John found me. And I have to tell you that John has guided me in the very beginning along with several other folks, but he was instrumental in getting me involved in downtown, and I on many occasions do appreciate that. There have been several occasions when I have called John and said, "What did you do to me?" But
was that last week, Peter?
He was, as you mentioned, Eileen, very instrumental in taking the organization that former member Ken Sheelan was involved in, and he took over the reins and moved this organization along a path to where it was an organization that people wanted to join, not avoid joining. It became an organization that was devoted to the downtown interests and the interest of not only the residents, but in many ways the interests of the merchants, because there's a symbiotic relationship here that the merchants need the residents, and the residents really need the merchants to have a downtown. And John was instrumental in doing that and building the notion that we need to connect the downtown to the bayfront, and worked hard at that, and we continue to do that. And we continue to see the efforts of John on the Downtown Improvement District and bringing and continuing to represent much of what the Dsca means in that effort as well. So I am very appreciative, and I think we are very lucky to have had John this period of time, especially in the this development of the Downtown Sarasota Condominium Association. So I'm sad to see him leave, but I know he probably does need the rest. He's so involved in so many things.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. A first and a
Eileen?
second, and Patrick discuss.
If I might speak to the motion, yes, when I joined Dsca 6 years ago, 2015, I had a lot of trepidations about serving on the board and taking over as president. But I must say, having the two president emeritus, both with Peter and with John Moran, made it all possible. And John really provided the linkage and the expertise just in terms of what he had started many years ago with the website, and I think we were using Constant Contact then and a few other things. So we've evolved a lot since then. But he really did initiate a lot of that. That gave us a strong foundation for the organization as it grew. And I was proud to at least work with him and beside him, and his knowledge of what goes on in the city is tremendous, which brings up an issue is we're going to need a volunteer to help keep track of what's going on in the city. So to somebody else to volunteer for that. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this? Ken?
Well, there are 2 points that I would like to make. I got involved with Dsca when it was called the Bayfront Condo Association, and I was trying to resuscitate it, and John came along and really helped me enormously get the organization back on track. And then when I was on the city commission, I was trying to start the effort to create the Downtown Improvement District. And I turned to John, who did an incredible job of organizing that effort so that we could make contact with the property owners and get their agreement. And we ended up getting over 65%, I think, of the commercial property owners downtown through John's efforts to agree to tax themselves so that we could create the DID. So John's been an absolute wonderful leader in downtown for years.
Well, having, honestly, I know he's blushing wherever he is. I make a motion that someone make sure he hears this video and understands how much people appreciate him. All in favor of this motion honoring John?
Aye.
I won't even say anyone opposed. Thank you, everyone, for speaking on his behalf. I kind of wish he was here.
I just wanted to do it while you were doing something else.
Ruth Bernstein.
Who has their mic on?
Ruth Firstrom.
Yes.
Please shut your mic off.
Okay.
That was easy. Okay, we are at the point at which we do election of officers. But before we do that, I just want to say something. I want to say this will be my last meeting as president of Dsca. I will only own a downtown Sarasota condo for another month before I ride off into the sunset. Take a right at Orange and a left at Alta Vista, and that's where I'll be, about 1.5 miles from my condo life, taming the new frontiers right by Selby. It's been my honor and privilege to work with and for the people who make up Dsca. I mean, you just heard about John. Well, everybody else deserves kudos just as good, just as well. These are good and genuinely good and really smart people who work in this organization. And I've worked in quite a few organizations in Sarasota, and this is an incredibly smart group and dedicated. I'll still be active at CCNA, the Coalition of City Neighborhood Associations, and Dsca is a member of CCNA as one of their neighborhoods, one of the neighborhoods in the city. So I will keep in close contact with the new Dsca president and board. And that brings me to the important question: who will take on the responsibility of shepherding this important organization as its president for the next year? I will take nominations from the floor.
I would move to nominate David Lowe as president.
Second.
Okay, Bob. Anyone else? Nominations are closed. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Congratulations, David. I wish I could pass the gavel to you, but one of the things they don't provide you with here is a gavel. I've been using an inkwell to bang on the desk, so you'll have to find something to use. But congratulations, David. You've got some wonderful people to work with.
And thank you, Eileen, and everybody. And I'm humbled and honored to assume this position, and I may be somewhat of an unusual choice. If you would have told me that when I moved from San Diego about 11 years ago to the area that I would be doing this and this kind of work, I would have said you were crazy. But I moved initially to Longboat, and then 3 or 4 years ago into the Rosemary district, and was, as I wound down some business dealings, was looking for something to do and got involved in the Rosemary District Association, and it got in my blood. And I want to acknowledge the mentoring and help of people on the board, in particular Patrick, for his guidance and wisdom, and somebody I could talk to and recognize everything he has done. And you, Eileen, it's been truly a great experience working with the board of DSCA, and I just really look forward to meetings. It's a great group of people who have done nothing but of help to me as I tried to make a contribution. So I don't accept this position lightly. It's one that I really look forward to. And I reached out to several of you asking for your help, and Peter on parliamentary matters, and Ken on strategic matters, and others of you where I just need all the help I can get to get through the priorities and agenda items. I did circulate earlier today a list of matters of interest to DSCA coming before the City Commission in the coming 3 or 4 months, and a number of those are of pretty great importance to us, and ones that we have to find a way to, through our committee structure, a way to analyze those, develop our positions, and advocate for as appropriate. The other overarching thing that I wanted to talk about was, I went through some of the population estimates and the growth things, and it just led me to talk to Ken and Peter and Patrick about maybe is it time to kind of step back and take a more strategic look at our neighborhood and how it's to evolve and how we want it to evolve. And as Ken said, maybe, this is an opportunity to be proactive on certain initiatives as opposed to reactive. And I think this idea of the growth we're going to have, 3,000 more people downtown, there could really be an opportunity to dust off the fine work that was done just about 10 years ago exactly, which Roger gave me in this just great document, which is, gathered some dust, but maybe there's an opportunity to, without reinventing all of that work, maybe taking a look at some of the elements there and seeing just what we make of it. And to that end, I am suggesting the formation of one more committee that would be yet to be named, more of a strategic, long-term visioning kind of group. As I look at the committee structures now, maybe it could be folded into one of those committees, but my instinct is that maybe it should be its standalone kind of group to begin to look at opportunities, goals, and so forth. So that said, I look forward to working with all of you. I see there are something like 40 people on the call, and pull, those of you with interest further into it, into our work, and get your involvement and your input and your visions for what we want the DSCA neighborhood to look like 10, 20, 50 years from now. So thanks. Patrick, help guide me what I am.
Well, you need to then elect the remaining officers or confirm those, secretary, treasurer, and vice president. It's up to you, David, to confirm the remaining officers now that you are the president.
Yeah. Well, shall we? Yeah. So I would move or recommend that Jamie, Clark, and you, Patrick, continue to be the other officers of the board. Shall I make a motion to?
Well, if there's anyone else that wants to step up and serve in any other officer capacity? Hearing none, then we can make that motion, and the board can accept that by acclamation.
Peter.
Just to formalize the motion a little bit, David, you are motioning that Patrick will be the vice president of the organization, Clark Loren would be the treasurer, and Jamie Still would be the secretary. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Does that mean my salary goes up?
I'll second the motion.
And shall we vote?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor of the motion? Raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. And then, Patrick, I would assume that the executive committee is composed of the officers we just spoke of, plus President Emeritus. And shall I make a motion to confirm that as what we would wish?
So I'll move that the executive committee is composed of the officers plus President Emeritus. Do I have a second?
And do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Yep.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then, Patrick, we'll have approval of the minutes. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes, and are there any comments or corrections, additions? Okay, if hearing none, by affirmation, may we just accept the minutes, please?
So stated.
Okay, all right. Minutes are approved based on that affirmation. Thank you. And then treasurer's report. Clark, do you can you give us an update?
Yes. In our Sable Palm checking account, we have $18,181.85.
Any other matters related to your report, Clark, or is it any?
No, not that I know of. Patrick, have we got money outstanding for members? I should.
In terms of the revenue payments from members, we had received word that one of our members had not paid. That was Dsca, and the check was in the mail, so they were not counted as a current active member until payment is received on that, because it's been over 3 months for that. So we are expecting a payment for that one additional condo, and that's I think was the only outstanding one that we were counting on. So that's from a revenue standpoint.
That's it from my end,
Okay.
President Lowe.
Thank you. And then as far as new business, does anybody have any new business to bring up at this point?
We have a guest speaker here.
Patrick, she was
Yep.
timed out. She had to pick up her children. It's past
Oh
5.
my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so if we can make her the first order of new business next meeting, that would be fantastic.
Okay.
Okay. And any other new business that anybody would like to?
It's in the agenda, David.
Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. And then we want to review, approve new regular condo members. And the BLVD is a representative of the BLVD Boulevard on the call.
Yep, I am.
Okay, Mark, David Lowe here, and good to meet you, sir. And welcome to the DSCA family. We welcome you and all of your residents, and look forward to your participation. Do you want to say a few words about the Boulevard or your building, or the status of how many people have moved in?
Yeah, sure. Why not? 49. We have 49 units here, plus 3 commercial. I think they have about 8 left to sell. They've been selling them pretty quick. They stalled out with COVID, of course, like everyone else. But now that COVID's pretty much gone, they've been just burning right through the units. So I think they're going to be done here in the next couple of months. How many people are here? I have no clue. People come and go to Florida. You don't know who's here and who's not. But
Sure.
but we got quite a few right now. And right now, while there's no buildings across the street, this is the greatest building I've ever seen. So hopefully you can stop all the other building around here and we could keep it that way. So
Okay. Well, again, welcome to DSCA, and we look forward to your participation and those of your residents. So welcome again.
thank you.
David?
Huh.
David, can I ask a question?
Sure.
To the gentleman that you just spoke to? Do you refer to the building as BLVD or Boulevard?
It's the Boulevard because it's on the Boulevard of the Arts.
Great, thank you.
Okay, great.
David, I have a question too of Mark, and I'd like to say welcome, and I hope that you will become an active member. So is the Boulevard board now still a developers board, and you are the resident representative on that board, or do you have some other form of governance?
No, it's still developers board, and I'm the resident on the board. So
Great. Thank you.
Great. And then I think the next item is
David?
yes.
I would like to make a motion that the board approve the regular membership of Boulevard Sarasota.
Second.
Great. We have a motion with a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, welcome, Mark and Boulevard. The next item, as I see, Patrick, is to approve new associate memberships, USI Insurance Services and One Palm Apartments. USI Insurance Services is a gold associate and is a representative from the USI on our call today.
Yes, right here, David.
Oh,
Turn my camera on for a minute.
okay. Well, welcome, sir, and welcome to your company. And would you like to say a few words of introduction about your firm and your work?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me on. I'm happy to be here. I see some familiar faces on some of the camera squares here. My name is Sixto Guerrero with USI Insurance Services. We specialize in providing counsel and brokering insurance specifically for condominium associations. We manage about 3,000 condominiums across the state of Florida. Our West Florida team specifically manages about 400 associations from Tampa down to Naples. I'm a Sarasota native, born and raised. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do, and I'm happy to be a part of DSCA moving forward.
Great. And then I guess the next thing, Patrick, is in order is to approve the membership of USI Insurance. And is there a motion to do that?
So moved.
And a second? Seems like
Second.
Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, welcome. Welcome to your firm, sir.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And then the next residential associate is One Palm Apartments. And do we have a representative from One Palm with us today? Okay.
If not, I'll make a motion to approve One Palm Apartments as a residential associate.
I'll
Second.
second it. Yeah.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, welcome to One Palm. Next item on the agenda is old business and the annual condo survey. There's been a lot of work, good work, Bob, for you and the people collaborating on this. And could you provide us with an update, please?
I will gladly, especially want to thank Ted Wilson, Sheila O'Connell, and Patrick for all the work that they put in on this survey. I went through and cleared out all the original drafts. I think we had about 11 drafts of what Patrick could put it on the screen.
And I'll put that up there if you want to get a little sharing what we're going to do here.
Yeah, what the survey will be, is for associations to fill out various information about their association, staff, insurance cost increases, EV vehicles, staffing, security, information that established associations, boards can use, and also information I think will be very useful to our newer members and some of the new associations that are going through developer turnover, which 10 years ago for us was a very interesting process. So this particular survey it can be filled out on screen and submitted electronically. We try to make it as easy as possible for managers or board members to fill it out. And then the information in the survey will be accumulated and put together and then shared with all the associate members. So I think it's good information. I think the form, the way it's formatted, it's 2 pages long, will be fairly easy for people to fill out. All you really need is a copy of your budget for a lot of the information. And I think it's information that all of our members ultimately will be a useful tool. And I can see us forming other surveys in the future from this. We may not have covered every subject, but I think we have a pretty good representation of the key issues that affect condominium associations, and I believe we have a cover letter written for it, and with no objection, I think it's ready to go out to all our members. Yeah, we're going to try to have it responded back to us in time so that we can have the information put together maybe within 30 or 45 days. Does anyone have any questions about the survey?
Well, Bob, let me just add here that this will be sent out, email sending out with an attachment, which will be this PDF. And it is a fill in the blank. Basically, you go through and select the answers. Most of these are yes, no's. Others are a little radio button, one or the other. Is it, in some cases, we have various like minimum leasing rental time, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, other. And so we have drop down boxes for information like that. In terms of how you do your parking, whether it's deeded, allocated, things like that. So it should be fairly quick. If you've got your budget in front of you and your total square footage of all your residential units, and then can come up with that total amount of your budget reserve plus operating, etc. And filling in this information, we hope that this would make it easier for primarily your property manager to be able to sit down, if necessary, with any board chair and go through and fill this out. And we want to make sure that we get as broad participation, because this is what will enable us to have a pretty composite view of everything that's happening across, given especially the wide range of units, where we have unit or condo members, they only have 10 units. We have other ones with 300 units. So being able to get all this data, and then we can go back and do some summary information once we have the data. One thing I'll say, by doing this as a live PDF, it has the ability for us to do, once we have them all accumulated in one folder, we can extract the actual data into a spreadsheet automatically. So that's why we prefer to have people fill this out online and email it back electronically. If you print it, fill it out, mail it back, we'll have to enter the data in to be able to do the composite. So.
I have a question on this, and I know I'm jumping in new here on the game, but I was on the meeting where this was being discussed. I'm down here at the Mark in downtown Sarasota. One of the things that we have asked about, and I'm not sure if it's included in here because I can't quite see the whole thing, but do we have a platform for, is there a question somewhere on here, what type of platform condos use to communicate with their owners, whether it's a, web page or, interactive community? So that was on there?
Yes.
Well, we have here, in terms of electronic voting and surveys, we don't specifically ask about the platform. I mean, condos above a certain size are required to have an electronic presence, is my understanding.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so that neither here nor there then. And the other thing is, do we have anything in here regarding security? I know you have leasing,
Yes.
asking about security companies. So I apologize for you having to do this.
Right here.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you for clarifying that then. Okay.
Sure. Also,
Thank you.
staffing, and we realize it's very difficult how different condos handle staffing. So we've tried to come up with some mechanism of grouping, whether you have people either in the administrative maintenance, some concierge, some security, or separate, some are combined. So we're trying to get a view across. And once we have this data, we also can then go back and look at it by number of units and come up with some average. Also, in order for a condo member to receive the composite report, they must fill it out and submit one.
Great. That's all I have if there are no more questions regarding the survey.
Okay, so as I understand it, Patrick, this is ready to go out. There's a cover letter Sheila has developed, and we're ready to rock and roll on this. Is that correct? Or is there any motion or action by the board needed to authorize that?
Bob, do you feel like we have previously approved moving forward with this? If you feel, Bob, I think you had approval. If not, you feel like we need to take a board vote?
I believe we had prior approval because we've discussed it at the last at least 2 or 3 board meetings. And we had approval to hire Sheila. So.
Okay, so it would be my view, unless Peter has another viewpoint on that, so we just.
No, I'm fine. No, you're well within the rules of what you need to do.
All right. Well, thanks, Bob. This is terrific, and I look forward to hearing this. I can see an opportunity to possibly blend some of the information that comes out of this with some of the population work in our narrative. I don't know exactly how to do that, but we're going to have lots of information to slice and dice in different ways that should be interesting, and some pretty interesting information to share. So thank you. Next up is a city update from John Moran, and of course he is not on the call. Is there anybody that might have any type of city update in lieu of John being with us?
Well, maybe there are several things that people could individually, yeah, I see Roger's hand up. But for instance, I'm just going to, for an example, if you missed it, the city commission, what is today, last evening, reinstituted an effort to have a mandated mask policy without enforcement. So we may be looking at having the ability for some of our businesses to say, look, it's required by the city, not have to say, as they haven't in the past, but it's not enforceable. And that was a 3-2 vote, by the way, on the commission. And
okay, Roger?
Well, I can make a couple of quick comments. I attended the Downtown Improvement District meeting Tuesday, and they're gaining more focus on economic development, especially with the reorganization of the city, and which planning and economic development been put under Steve Cover. The DID agenda involves things like promotion of downtown and how to carry that about. And then the regular work of keeping the flower boxes looking well, keeping the tree lights, which they partnered with the city so that they're the entire length of Main from 41 to 301. And they are starting discussions about future capital developments and improvements, particularly on Main Street. And at the last thing of their meeting was how to keep the symphony in town, and have proposed some ideas about encouraging the symphony to stay. So anyway, that particular group is very active with downtown and the focus of downtown, and their mission is more capital development than promotion.
Okay, is there anything else? I do note, I don't know if it fits in downtown, is Bob Fournier, our city attorney, has been tasked with drafting a noise ordinance. And I'm told by Pat Robinson that should be coming before the city commission in an early May meeting. And so that's in the works based on some direction from the city commission of a few weeks ago. So that is in the works. That's all I would have. Shall we move on to committee status reports? Jamie, do you have an update on the March webinar?
Yes, so we had our webinar on March 24th regarding insurance rates hikes, creative financial solutions. I thought the panel did exceptionally well. Our platinum members did a great job. Hopefully everybody else thought it was a great webinar. And then we're looking forward to our next webinar, which we're hoping will be Board Member Authority Emergency Powers, and that would be on June 16th via Zoom.
Cool. Okay.
And then fingers crossed we can have a live event in October.
Okay. Anything else, Jamie?
No, that ends my report. Thank you.
Okay. Moving on, Green Space Committee, Patrick?
Nothing to report new this time.
Okay, and Peter on the homeless committee?
David, could I just interject something really quickly on the commission that relates to the green space? Jerry Fogel has been on the agenda and has come up several times, only to be, pushed back. Supposed to come up in May. It was bumped from the April 19th agenda, but it's the item that's going to be discussed are park hours and park use regulations, looking at some of the rules and ordinances regarding the parks. So just wanted to throw that out there. And then also, Jamie, I attended the DSCA sponsored event regarding litigation and lawsuits, which I thought was very interesting. So thank you.
Good to know.
It was great. It was good.
Thank you for sharing.
Okay, and on to Peter at this point on the homeless committee, sir.
Yeah, I don't have a formal report, not because there isn't anything going on, but just the opposite. There is very, very much going on in the area of the homeless. And one of the problems is trying to get it organized and get the people organized and so forth. And along with the fact that my business has all of a sudden, many people think the pandemic is over, especially in healthcare facilities. And as you may know, that's my area of still consulting, and I'm rapidly thinking I need to get out of the business. At any rate, that's often said. But two things. We have some downtown residents that have become very interested in the situation with the homeless. And I hope it's all right to mention two people at least that are doing a lot in that area, trying to get us information. Kathy Sellers and Mike Geisler. And if I've left somebody else off, there is another person, John Bordeaux, I think his name is, all from the Mark, and they are seeing themselves particularly impacted by the homeless provisions, and we're trying to get together to see what we can do about that and review the ordinances that are in place and so forth. We also have another initiative brought to me by Barbara Campo, and her experience and information being gotten, especially from the city of Atlanta, in which they have had a problem with homeless persons in the parks. I used to live there in Woodruff Park in downtown. That's near the Olympic areas and the aquarium and Coca-Cola World, etc. And they've come up with a program in which they think it mitigates much of the problem. And Barbara's gotten some information for us on that. And then the third area, which is interesting because several realtors have contacted me and have expressed an interest in taking a look at the impact of the homeless on property values downtown. And so with those three initiatives, we'll be putting something together. If I can entice Clark and Patrick, especially, and Kathy and Mike and Barbara to get together in some manner other than Zoom. I'm getting zoomed out, I'm telling you. Maybe if we can get a cup of coffee together and sit 6 feet apart or something and yell to each other. But we'll be looking at those three areas in particular.
Okay, great. On to Health and Safety Committee. Eileen, are you still with us? Okay.
I am. I'm still with you. I don't really have anything further to say about health and safety. I know that you keep the COVID charts. You are the keeper of the charts. So I defer to you.
Okay. Well, I shared with, and sorry, Kathy, I didn't have your email contact information, but Patrick would, as background on this, it's now been almost exactly a year since I started charting. It was April 3rd of last year that the county health department began issuing their heat maps on a daily basis. And what was interesting is the data was plotted on a zip code basis. As I think you know, we've kind of identified 4 zip codes out of the roughly 40 or 45 in the county that are partly or wholly in the DSCA neighborhood. So here's this first chart, just shows a trend going back a year with the peaks and valleys. The top line is countywide, and then the bottom line is the 4 what I call city zips. And you can see the trend line on those begin to tick up. The second chart is the trend line countywide over the last 14 days. So you can see again that in the last 14 days, the COVID positives are up about 41%. So, you know, everybody is kind of thinking things are better with the vaccine. The explanations on this, you know, are probably multifold, including possibly new variants of the virus. The next chart is city zips, and this is where I plot the 4 city zips and the trend line on our cases. And the final chart is by each of our 4 zips, and you will see that one interesting trend is zip code 34237, which is eastern part of the downtown area, has really kind of spiked, so as to speak. I think it's up something like 70% in the last 14 days, whereas all of our zips collectively are up about 46%. So depending on your persuasion about the mask ordinance and all the drama on that the night before last, I mean, certainly the numbers are looking like things have not calmed down. The trends were clearly trending down about 40% a month ago. Now they're trending up about 50%. So these charts, by the way, are shared daily with Marlon and Key City staff, and I understand are circulated amongst department heads. So that's what I've got as far as an update on that. Next is Transportation Committee. Roger, you have an update on the EV charger or on the transportation. Then it looks like Alan has the whistle on the EV matter.
Okay, yeah, I'll start. Just a couple of things briefly. One is the proposed trolley, open air trolley, based on city discussions and interest, connecting starting at 316 to the downtown parking garages, across the bridge to St. Armand's and ending at Lido Beach, and the expected 20-minute headways. They're seeking some financial support from the Downtown Improvement District and the Business Improvement District at St. Armand's. The hope is to start this next autumn in time for the season next year. The second thing, one of all of our interest is the Gulfstream roundabout construction. They've installed temporary pedestrian paths and slowly changing the pedestrian access across 41 for the construction. And by the time it's finished, if you want to walk across 41, you'll have to do it either at Fruitville Road or Main Street during construction. And there are signs and special paths being created at this point. One other item that is happening in this pre-construction phase is that eastbound through traffic on Gulfstream Avenue towards downtown will be closed in the starting shortly. And if you're traveling eastbound on Gulfstream and want to go downtown, you'll have to take a left or a right, either up to Main or down the Fruitville Road. And the Marina Jack parking access on the north side off of Gulfstream is now closed. And There will be occasional detours and lane closures during the various pre-phase of this project, but no major changes will occur until July, after season. And with that, it's Alan Friedman has chairing our subcommittee on electric vehicles. And Alan, please.
Thanks. Yeah, our first meeting was on March 25th of the subcommittee. Up to that point, 8 people had expressed an interest. 4 people actually attended the meeting. During the meeting and in subsequent meetings, one of the focal points is going to be to develop from the couple of questions that are asked in the survey that Bob Parola just showed us, to develop from that an expanded questionnaire. And so I solicited potential questions from the members attending. I extend that invitation to you. If there are specific things that you're interested in finding out about, this would be an opportunity. If you can send me an email with those questions, we'd be happy to amalgamate them with the others and try to get some kind of refined questionnaire. Several vendors have also expressed an interest in either being on the committee or more likely participating in some meeting, and obviously with an interest, a commercial interest in promoting their cause, and we have no objection. It's a great way to learn what's out there, what's available to us. You probably have all read, I'm sure, about the infrastructure bill that may or may not wend its way through Congress, or may just happen by other means. But that includes $174 billion to boost the EV, electric vehicle industry. The plan calls for some 500,000 new stations to be built nationwide. So I think this is going to really blossom into something monumentally large in the coming, let's say, 10 years. And certainly the interest in EVs is growing exponentially as we talk. Our next meeting is April 24th at 4 p.m. And any board member or people on this call who would like to participate on the subcommittee, either formally or informally, you're certainly welcome. That's April 22nd at 4. It'll be on Zoom, unfortunately. That continues. If you send me an email, or Patrick an email expressing your interest, and in that email, if you can have your name, your email address, and the building that you're in, and you don't have to be necessarily a representative of the building, but we are interested when we start developing questions. It will help us know who's got what, or what stage of development you're in. So we would welcome as many people as possible to give us input. And so if you'll send either me, and it's Alan Friedman, AlanFreedman, 1, the number 1, at gmail.com, or send to Patrick, which you would have by virtue of having been on this call. You would know his email address as well. So that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions if anyone has.
Thank you, Alan. Moving along to Zoning Code Committee, we have Drew Clary, who is going to be chairing the Zoning Code Committee. And Drew, at this point, I think you, Patrick, and I kind of agreed we would defer a first meeting of the group until after today. Am I remembering correctly?
That's right, David.
Okay.
We decided to, the 3 of us, Patrick and you and I, to meet sometime in the future. I will say that thank you very much for the opportunity to serve on the Zoning Code Committee. There was such a clamor to take this over. I really think I bested all the competition. And I want to thank Eileen Normile for pushing me into this. And it's not that I'm reluctantly taking it. I refer to, although briefly the zoning code is approximately 8.5 pounds printed and bound. I refer to it as the woolly mammoth. In some ways it's unmanageable, some ways it's illogical, some ways it's predictable. I've been in contact with some very good people at the city zoning office, and they've directed me to some very important parts. I've been steeped in Article 6, Division 10. Sounds like a cup of tea, but it seems to me the portion of the zoning code that would be most important for us. The way I look at it is that there are so many parts of the zoning code. It might be in our interest to address things as they come up, but we'll see that maybe we can discuss that at our meeting. But I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone for putting me on this committee. And I also want to thank you for the excellent opportunity to be part of this wonderful organization, which increases in importance every day as we have more condominiums built in the area designated as Sarasota downtown and more residents. So thank you very much. And there will be probably a much fuller and less boring report at the next meeting. Thank you, David.
Okay, and thank you, Drew. Moving along to Bay Park Conservancy, Bob, do you have an update for us?
You know, I do. Coincidentally, the Bay Park is sending around a survey. They're asking people to respond to with various questions regarding the uses and the interest in the Bay Park. The survey is available if you haven't already, if you're not on their email distribution list. You can go to thebaypark.org and there'll be a button there to access the survey. Couple bullet points on April 10th, they're going to formally open the Mangrove Walkway. I was over there this past weekend. It really looks beautiful over there. And while the walkway will be open, they will continue to work in phase 1 on the reading room, the area, the so-called reading room, which is going to be a tribute to the Selby Library that was originally in some of that space. And they're going to work on some of the landscaping or the lawnscaping, if that's a word. They'll continue to work on improving the lawn areas over there. So it is moving along. They moved legacy oak trees, and they've done a lot of planted a lot of new plants. They will be dredging the bayou at some point, but a lot of that will require permitting, and that may take some time. So briefly, I recommend everyone go to their website, take the survey, and on April 10th, the mangrove walkways will be open, and they're 10 feet wide, and they're coated with a rubber coating, and it's very attractive, I think. So that's what I have on the Bay Park.
Great, thank you, Bob. And then next to Ted Wilson.
Wait. Excuse me, I have a question. Bob, do you have any input on the Bay Park Improvement Board that was just formed? And I understood they met this afternoon for our meeting.
I wasn't aware of that, Patrick.
Okay,
I did receive a text that fifth member, somebody had been nominated, but I haven't been able to follow what the text messages I got in it because I'm in this meeting, but appears there are some developments. I know Commissioner Alpert and I believe, is it Mayor Brody are the two city designees to the 5-member board. I know Liz is. I'm not positive about Hagan. So.
Okay.
Then Ted, on CCNA, you have any updates for us there, please?
Unmute, finally. I'm sorry, David, it took so long. The CCNA did meet last Saturday, and we had a vote regarding the proposals from the Park District to have hours and have the first motion which was passed by the CCNA was that the park hours be established from 11 to 5 p.m. or 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. excuse me, and that that motion passed, and everybody felt that it was probably beneficial for the police department to have uniform hours in all the parks. And it also has a lot of codicils in it that say, you know, if you're all right to be walking through the park if you're coming from a restaurant or a business in downtown. Second motion was to allow basically the Parks and Recreations Director with the communications with the city attorney to make recommendations to the city manager and have the city manager approve new regulations. That motion failed. We had a second motion to allow the prep board to oversee such recommendations prior to going to the city manager. That one failed as well. We had another one from basically to have the neighborhood associations approve the affected neighborhood approve the rules that were promulgated by the parks director. That also failed, and so consequently there was no recommendation from the CCNA in regards to the second motion that was proposed by the Parks and Recreations Director. It was kind of a wild meeting that lasted for a long time, and that was probably the most contentious thing that happened in the meeting. I know, Elaine, you won't have to add anything to that. I know you were listening to it as well.
Are you talking about me?
Yes.
Ted, Eileen. Yeah, of course, there was the discussion of a motion by CCNA supporting our advisory boards and basically saying that they, anyone who serves on an advisory board should have the right to free speech. Seems a little crazy to have to even do that, but they did do it, and it was presented by Richard Harris to the City Commission on Monday. And this, you know, as you know, involves the controversy surrounding Vice Mayor Arroyo's treatment of Patrick Gannon. So I recommend that anyone who actually would like to get a headache to watch the very final issue on the Monday night meeting. Just zoom right up there. It's about 4 hours and 30 minutes into the meeting. It was about 10:30 at night, or it felt like 2 in the morning, but it was, all I can say is it was an absolute circus. So I do recommend you look at it. I have real concerns. I understand that last night's meeting, Vice Mayor Arroyo said he plans to meet with all the advisory boards. So since he is kind of doing a clean out, I do recommend that people take a look at it and be aware, and CCNA will watch it. I'll be on CCNA, but please do take, 20 minutes, 15 minutes and take a look at that last issue. I'd be very curious to know what you think about it, but I found it extremely disturbing. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Sounds like you need a couple of stiff drinks before you sit down to watch it.
I've been drinking since Monday. Yes, you do. You do indeed.
Okay. And Ted, anything else on CCNA?
No, nothing else.
Okay. The next is Rosemary District Association. Just a brief update. We continue to have communications with Jerry Fogel regarding the planning for the Rosemary Park. I'm pleased to say we've had some very productive meetings, and the Rosemary District Association representatives, a group of us, are going to be given an opportunity to, in effect, interview the 3 firms that are on the short list to do the design work. And it seems like Jerry Fogel and the city are willing to listen very closely to our recommendations. We hope that that process, the interviewing of the firms, will take place within the next 3 or 4 weeks. A firm would be selected, and then they begin the design work under a continuing services contract. Plans are still in place to potentially demo the existing buildings when the city gets possession at the end of July. The question is, the key question is where to find the money to build the park. And as it turns out that park impact fees are to be utilized, but it looks like out of the middle of the night, the county took $600,000 from that fund to help build new restrooms at the Nora Patterson Park. And that's half the cost of the $1.2 million bill. So that created a dent in the park impact fee availability that wasn't anticipated. So we're working on what to do about that. But long story short, the planning process is underway, and we have some quite good communications with the Parks and Rec Department. So any comments on that? Other than that, in the Rosemary, we have a quarterly meeting coming up on the 21st. So that's all from me. Now, Patrick, help me with our Platinum Associate News highlights. We
introduce Christian Fourier to lead that introductions.
Okay, Christian.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my camera is not working for some reason, but yeah, I just want to quickly say thanks to the committee who did the Dsca survey. It looks really good from what I could see. Great job on that. And Patrick, Jamie, correct me, the Platinum member logos will be on that form when it's finalized and going out, correct?
Yes.
Cool.
I believe so.
Awesome. Okay, well, we have a few Platinum members here tonight to speak. Since in alphabetical order, my company Core Marketing is up first. I wanted to talk about professional plumbing, 24-hour plumbing, and pipelining. So if you need your pipes inspected or have any plumbing issues, let me know and I can get you in touch with them. Really wanted to talk about, though, we're on the crux here of hurricane season starting June 1st. So we are putting together with Ed McCrane on the 14th of May a hurricane preparedness seminar. It's going to be at the Sarasota Yacht Club from 10 to 11:30, and we will be posting that on the educational calendar at the DSCA website. So be on the lookout for that. We're just finalizing our sponsors, but we will be having CBIZ Insurance talk about claims, Right Way Emergency Services. We'll be talking about disaster planning. We have Forge Engineering talking about building envelope inspections. And of course, Ed McCrane will give us updates and as to whether COVID is still, you know, a thing as far as shelters and emergency planning. So that's it for me right now. We do have Forge Engineering here though tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and let them talk as a Platinum member as well.
Yes, good evening, everybody. My name is Michael York. I hope you can hear me all right.
Yep.
As mentioned, Forge Engineering, I am the Director of Business Development for Forge. We've been around for 25 years. I have 3 offices headquartered in Naples. We also have a large office in Sarasota out by the UTC Mall, and one on the East Coast in Plantation. But our firm is unique in that we specialize and focus strictly in association high-rise condominium work, all the way from the pre-built part where developers are purchasing land, inspections, phase 1s, through the built process, construction material testing, and then 75% of our business helps you all with reserve studies. From there, we'll do paint, roofing, concrete restoration, paving, windows and doors, reserve studies, etc. So if there's anything that we can help you with, please let me know, and I appreciate you having me on this evening.
Thanks, Michael. Earlier we did have Jeff McDuffie from Lighthouse. Jeff, I don't know if you're still on. Okay, we'll pipe in if you are still on there. I know we have Tannenbaum Scrow is on tonight, I believe, still.
Yep. Thank you, Kristen. Hi, I'm Jim Toll from Tannenbaum Scrow, Lamole, and Kleinberg. We are construction attorneys primarily. We do some other things, but that's a huge emphasis in our firm. This was a great meeting to talk about one of the things we do, which is represent associations in a certain aspect of turnover. We are not general counsel. General counsel they do the mechanics of the turnover, but we work with people typically about a year before turnover occurs, when the people who are going to be the new future board kind of realize who they are. We'll start meeting with them at no cost. And then once turnover has occurred, we work to build the team to go back and look at the construction of the building. By that time, many of the residents already know that there are issues with the building. We work to try to find the right forensic engineer and put the team together to pursue claims against the developer and the contractors. So that's a big part of what we do. And thank you for having us, in your organization.
Thanks, James. And I wanted to save Jake Howes with First Service Residential for last. He is on our panel at Community Association Network this month, and we're going to be talking about rentals, the background checks and applications, and renters' rights. So, Jake, you there?
I am. My video is disabled, but it's good to see so many familiar faces and see such a great turnout, such a great organization, timely topics. Congratulations to David, the new president. Also, welcome to our new customer, Mark Grant, at the Boulevard. So we're just happy to be involved with this great organization. We manage a number of communities in downtown Sarasota. We have close to 100 employees in downtown Sarasota. So we're a very large employer, and we're just happy to be involved. If we can ever help you all with anything, please let us know. Again, Jake House with First Service Residential. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. And that wraps our Platinum member representation tonight. Thank you for having us.
Kristen, we did have somebody from Lighthouse. I don't know if he's still on.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. Jeff McDuffie, some changes going over there, so we may need to change our contact for Lighthouse.
Okay.
But I think he logged off.
Okay. And Patrick, help guide me through the Gold Associate News highlights.
Well, same for Kristen. Kristen, you want to continue on?
For the Gold member representation?
Please.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. So we had USI, who was on earlier, that spoke. I'm not sure if he's still on and wants to speak again.
I'm still here.
Okay.
So I gave a brief introduction a few minutes ago, so I appreciate you giving me a couple more seconds to talk about USI. So as I said, our West Coast division, West Coast condominium team manages over 400 condominiums from Tampa to Naples. I myself am a Sarasota native. We're really working hard on establishing more of a footprint in the downtown Sarasota area, and we've had some great success so far over the past year or so. I know insurance, there was a discussion last month regarding insurance and the rate hikes and some of the difficulties that's going on specifically for condominium associations and property insurance, not only just property insurance, but general liability insurance as well. And we found some really unique ways to help our clients and, take some different approaches in comparison to what the standard story has been over the past several years to help combat some of those premium increases. And at the same time, most importantly, we always want to have and provide the best coverage, which is most important. But again, we know the distress a lot of condominium associations are under with 20 to 30% increases year over year. And like I said, we've had some great success in actually finding decreases for a lot of our clients in the downtown Sarasota area. And, anytime anybody has any questions at all or needs a second opinion or just another pair of eyes, we'd be grateful for the opportunity to at least have a discussion. And whether you're a client or not, we're always happy to provide some counsel and help the community any way we really can. Again, any questions at all, I'm always available. I'm not sure how to give out my contact information, but I guess I'll send that over to Patrick. And again, Sixto Guerrero with USI Insurance, and happy to be here. And as somebody said earlier, this is such a great turnout. I know we're still doing Zoom calls right now, but this is probably the largest Zoom call I've had in quite some time. So that's a testament to the organization and to the participation. So again, we're happy to be a part of it.
Great, thank you. I think that's it.
Okay, well, thank you. And I guess at this point in the agenda, Patrick, it's typical to ask for any comments from member representatives. Are there any? And I hope we might be able to keep it relatively brief. I know we're running late, so please, any member representatives, if you have some comments or questions, please step forward. Okay, and then are there any other comments from non-representatives by people on the call who have some comments or questions, observations? Please let us know if you'd like to speak. Okay, well, that's good, and I again want to thank everybody for your support and your trust, and we look forward to following up on a number of the items we've discussed.
David?
Yes.
David, I'd like to make a comment.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to make a motion in an effort to totally embarrass Eileen. I'd like to thank her for doing such a terrific job and taking over for Patrick and being running our meetings with such efficiency and lightness of being. And thank you, Eileen, and we're sorry to see you go.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And I'll echo that. Eileen brought a degree of knowledge and decorum and class to this organization that it continues in a tradition of past presidents. And I certainly have a big set of shoes to fill with her leaving. So Eileen, enjoy your move to the suburbs. I'm kidding.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Eileen, thank you again for the way you've managed the operations here for the last year. And I will say, you have set a new, unique mark for DSCA. You will go down, I would hope, as the most number of Zoom meetings presided over.
Oh, and you
Or
forgot
DSCA.
to mention as the girl. You got that part.
And in fact, I think you have set a record in not only the most number of virtual Zoom meetings, but never having had to preside over a face-to-face Dsca board or member meeting. That's a rather unique record. So, and I hope no one ever has to do that again for an entire year. But you took over on the very first day, April 1st, that we went on Zoom, and ever since. So that was a real trooper.
Well, I hope I'm not going to be remembered as the pandemic president, but it's been real. Thank you. It was my privilege, really.
Okay, with nothing else, may we adjourn. Our next meeting is May the 5th, and we'll be in touch on some follow-up on a number of the items we've talked about. Roger, are you raising your hand, or you're looking to hit the leave button? Okay, well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate everything and everybody. All right.
Thank you, David.
Good night.
Meeting is